Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video, and today I'm going over Tampa versus Kansas City. Which defense is stronger? Sorry I haven't uploaded in a few days. I think it's been 3 or 4 days since my last upload, either on Monday or Sunday. I've had a pretty busy week, and I just haven't had the time to, so I'm making this video now. I meant to make this video last week, but I just got around to it. And then tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to do NFL MVP decided by Hunger Games Simulator. Or, not MVP, but Super Bowl MVP. I'm going to pick 12 players from each team that I think have the best chance of getting the Super Bowl MVP, put them in a Hunger Games Simulator, and see what happens. So, make sure to watch out for that. And sorry again for not consistently uploading. I will try and get on some sort of a schedule for after the Super Bowl, but it's harder to come up with video ideas, and also as school's getting harder and more into it, I have more work to do. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to, oh my gosh. So today we're starting off with the defensive line. On the Buccaneers, they have Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, and William Golston. And on the Kansas City Chiefs, their starters are Tanoh Kpassagnon, I don't know how to pronounce that, Chris Jones, Derek Nnadi, and Frank Clark. Already the Chiefs' defensive line is already slightly better because they play 4-3, so they have an extra defender versus the Bucs, who play a lot of 3-4. But without that being said, I think that the Chiefs players are also slightly stronger and slightly more consistent as well. Ndamukong Suh this season had 2 passes defended, a forced fumble, 6 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 44 total tackles. And he has 8 playoff tackles right now. Vita Vea has played 5 games, 2 sacks, tackle for loss, and 10 tackles for the regular season. And so far in the postseason, he has not played a game. And William Golston has 2 passes defended, a fumble recovery, 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 44 total tackles, and he has 2 playoff tackles. On the Kansas City Chiefs, Tanoh has 3 passes defended, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 28 total tackles. And in the playoffs, he has 1 pass defended, 3 sacks, and 2 tackles. Chris Jones has 4 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, 7.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 36 total tackles, and a safety. And in the playoffs, he has 4 playoff total tackles. Derek Nnadi so far has 48 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, and 6 playoff tackles. And Frank Clark right now has 2 passes defended, a fumble recovery, 6 sacks, 29 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. And in the playoffs, he has 2 sacks, 5 total tackles, and 3 tackles for a loss. With all that being said, I think it's clear that Ndamukong Suh is the strongest defensive lineman on the Buccaneers, and Chris Jones and Frank Clark are the 2 strongest on the Chiefs. I think that William Golston and Tanoh have similar abilities so far that they've exhibited this year, but William Golston's playing a little bit better, and I'd have to give the Kansas City defense a very, very, very slight edge. Not a whole lot, because the Bucs defensive line works well together. They don't always get there, but they work well together. And so I'd have to give the Chiefs a very, very slight advantage here. Moving on to the linebackers. The Buccaneers play a lot of 3-4, so they have 4 main starters. And the Chiefs play a lot of 4-3, so they have 3 main starters. The Bucs have Jason Pierre-Paul, Devin White, Lavonte David, and Shaquille Barrett. The Chiefs have Anthony Hitchens, Damian Wilson, and Willie Gray Jr. Jason Pierre-Paul, 2 interceptions, 6 passes defended, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 9.5 sacks, 55 tackles, and 7 tackles for a loss. He has 2 passes defended, 2 sacks, 10 tackles, and 3 tackles for a loss in the playoffs. Devin White, 4 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 9 sacks, 140 tackles, and 15 tackles for a loss. In the playoffs, he has 1 interception, 1 pass defended, 2 fumble recoveries, 26 tackles in 2 games, and a tackle for a loss. All of his playoff stats were just in 2 games. Well, Lavonte David, 1 pick, 6 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 1.5 sacks, 117 total tackles, and 12 tackles for a loss. And so far in the playoffs, he has 2 passes defended, a sack, 20 tackles, and a tackle for a loss. And Shaquille Barrett this season had 3 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, 8 sacks, 57 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, a safety, and in the playoffs he's had 3 sacks and 8 total tackles. On the Kansas City side of the football, we have Anthony Hitchens, who had 1 pass defended, 78 tackles, and 2 tackles for loss, as well as 12 tackles and 1 in the playoffs. Damian Wilson, who had a pass defended, a forced fumble, 73 tackles, and 3 tackles for loss, as well as in the playoffs, 1 pass defended and 4 tackles. And Willie Gray Jr., 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 1 sack, 39 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and has no playoff statistics. This is not even close. The Buccaneers have possibly one of the best linebacking cores we've seen in the NFL, not only in recent years, but in a very long time. Out of these Buccaneers linebackers, Devin White's the only one not to have made a Pro Bowl, but he definitely deserved it this year. Shaq Barrett and Levante David and Jason Pierre-Paul both made a Pro Bowl in the past 2 seasons. Levante David had made a couple from a long time ago. But Devin White also, we should have 4 Pro Bowlers on this lineup. Devin White this season has 140 tackles, which is a lot. And as an inside linebacker, he had 9 sacks. Inside linebackers don't get 9 sacks. Okay, that just doesn't happen. So the pressure that these linebackers bring on top of an already solid defensive line is scary. Moving on to the corners, we have Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Jamel Dean on the Buccaneers, and we have Travarius Ward, Damian Wilson, and Willie Gray Jr. Carlton Davis has 4 picks, 18 passes defended, 68 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss. And so far in the playoffs, he has 3 passes defended and 17 tackles. Sean Murphy-Bunting had 1 pick, 3 passes defended, a forced fumble, a recovery, 70 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss. And in the playoffs, he's had 3 interceptions, 4 passes defended, 13 tackles, and a tackle for a loss. Sean Murphy-Bunting has had more impressive stats in the playoffs than the entire regular season. Jamel Dean has 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 7 passes defended, 62 tackles, and 2 tackles for a loss. And so far in the playoffs, he has 2 passes defended and 13 total tackles. On the Chiefs, we have Travarius Ward, 6 passes defended, 1 sack, 51 total tackles, and 1 tackle for a loss, as well as 1 pass defended and 13 tackles in the playoffs. Damian Wilson has 2 picks, 9 passes defended, a forced fumble, a recovery, 38 tackles, and 3 tackles for a loss. As well as the playoffs, he's had 2 passes defended and, again, 13 tackles. That seems to be a common trend for the last 4 players. And Willie Gray Jr. In the regular season had 1 pick, 7 PDs, 35 tackles, and a tackle for a loss. So far in the playoffs, he has 1 pick, 1 pass defended, and 1 tackle. So cornerbacks, I think that it's safe to say that the Buccaneers have a stronger group of corners. Carlton Davis had a phenomenal season this year. He had 4 picks and 18 passes defended. And Sean Murphy-Bunting had a pretty solid season himself. It wasn't anything amazing, but it was pretty solid. But so far in the playoffs, he's had 3 interceptions and 4 passes defended. That's impressive. That's something you can brag about. And if he brings that same kind of heat to this Chiefs game, if these corners are the same type of on it that they were in the last couple of games, then these corners can wreak some havoc against Mahomes. Safeties, we have for the Bucs we have Antoine Winfield Jr. and Jordan Whitehead, and on the Chiefs we have Tyrann Mathieu and Daniel Sorensen. Winfield Jr. has 1 interception, 6 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles and a recovery, 3 total sacks, 94 total tackles, and a tackle for a loss. In the playoffs, he has 1 forced fumble and 12 tackles. Jordan Whitehead has 2 interceptions, 4 passes defended, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 2 sacks, 74 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss. And in the playoffs, he's had 1 pass defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 7 tackles. Tyrann Mathieu has 6 interceptions, a touchdown, 9 passes defended, a fumble recovery, 62 total tackles, and 3 tackles for loss. He does it all. He's everywhere. And in the playoffs, he has 1 interception, 1 pass defended, and 13 total tackles. And Daniel Sorensen has 3 interceptions, 5 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, 91 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and in the playoffs he's had a forced fumble and 12 tackles. Clearly, the Chiefs have a stronger safety group here. I don't know if the secondary for the Bucs or the Chiefs is technically stronger. I might lean towards the Bucs because their corners were very solid this season, and they're only getting better. But I'd have to give the safety position to the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyrann Mathieu is a phenomenal player, and Daniel Sorensen has put together some very, very impressive numbers this year. If this defense can feel off of their safeties and their defensive line, and they can do a good job handling this offense, then they should have a good chance. With all that being said, what are my takeaways from this game, you ask? I think that, unlike with the offenses, I think that there are an even number of points. On offense, I gave the Buccaneers 3 positions, I gave the Chiefs 2. But I did think there's a clear answer here. In my video, when I compared the offenses, I gave the Bucs 3 positions, I gave the Chiefs 2 positions, but I still said I think that Kansas City has as good, if not stronger, of an offense than the Buccaneers. So in that situation, I was comparing each position directly, but it didn't really correlate. This one, pretty similar story. They had the same number of points, but I think that the Buccaneers have a clearly stronger defense. This defense works better together than the Chiefs defense does, and it all fuels off of that linebacking core. The linebackers and corners put so much pressure on the quarterbacks from this Buccaneers team. And their safeties are strong, but their linebackers and their corners have such good coverage. They have such good coverage skills. Their linebackers can throw 2 back, and they can throw 2 on the quarterback. They can get in there. It's just a lot to handle. And I think that this Buccaneers defense is definitely stronger going into Super Bowl week. And I'm very excited to see how both of these defenses play in this big game. The Chiefs defense has gotten better throughout the season. It was good at the beginning of the year, then it dropped heavily, and then it came back towards the playoffs. So we will see how it looks come Sunday, but I'm very excited for both of these defenses. And that Buccaneers defense looking very, very scary right now. So thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and watch out for the Hunger Games video coming out this week. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.